morning, guys. Give me a thumbs up in chat if you guys can hear me okay. Had some mic issues this morning, so I'll make sure I'm putting out audio before I start rocking and rolling with this forecast here. What's up, Blaine? Got Mike in here, Blue, the Smiths, Drew's in here, Tim, Ronnie, Nancy, Skylar, Justin. Good to see you guys in here. All right, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and rock and roll. So, very quick stream this morning. Well, perhaps quick. We're going to go over everything, what to expect today as far as timing goes, etc. I want to first start off by saying it is on radar snowing up in northern lower Michigan, but you guys may not be seeing snowflakes just yet, and that is because the atmosphere is not saturated just yet. So what's probably happening is there's a lot of dry air out there. So it could be snowing, 4, 5, 6,000 feet above your heads, but because the air above your head, or just on the surface, just above the surface to be exact, is still pretty dry, that snow is melting before it reaches the ground there. So if it's snowing on radar, but you guys don't have snowflakes out your window, it's normal. The atmosphere is just getting saturated here. So it will snow later on this afternoon and evening. So let's go ahead and dive into the model here. Go ahead and bring back my screen. We're going to go over the hour by hour forecast here and take it full for you guys to kind of go over with me. So this is the short-term model here. Go back this up here. Let's go to this one. This is the future radar for today. And talking about these systems, these two systems to watch here. There's one, we're going to call it a southern phase and a northern phase. The southern part is down here. The northern part is up here. They're going to meet together somewhere in the vicinity of Michigan here. As these two systems meet, they will combine snow on the north side and a mix of sleet, freezing rain, perhaps some snow on the south side of this. But if you notice here, there is a ginormous dry slot from Grand Rapids over here to the, we're going to say Detroit area, where nothing's really happening as these two systems meet together. This is called phasing. They phase too late, and as a result, the southern part of Michigan misses out on some precipitation, but not all precipitation. So this is this afternoon here at this model. This is 2 p.m. today. So if you notice here, zooming into the Michigan, let's go ahead and take this into Michigan. Give me a second to navigate this into a zoomed in look. There we go. So there is your Michigan look at 2 p.m. today. We're going to notice snow has begun in the UP and northern lower. And we have a mix heading out to the south and west here toward Kalamazoo. As we move into the afternoon further, that's going to push eastward, and still notice that there is a gap here somewhere from Muskegon to Grand Rapids areas. It's not going to be a complete filled in precip shield today, kind of more spotty. So snow further north and then a mix further south there with a little bit of a gap between. That's expected. As that continues to push eastward for our, we're going to say rush hour, even though it's a weekend, it still is the rush hour time frame, 4, 5, 6 p.m. That kind of fills in for the east side here, but still leaves the far west side, like Muskegon area, without much in the way of anything. But I will stop it right here and also highlight for areas along 94 here, US 23, 127, I-69. You guys may be in for a slick commute this evening, as this could be sleet and freezing rain mixing here. It's not going to be, a large amount of either or, but it will be just enough to slick the roadways up across South Michigan. And obviously further north where snow is occurring, snow is slick as well. But overall concern for slick travel is centered around the freezing rain and sleet further south. This is 5 p.m. here in the model. Let's go ahead and move this forward into the later evening here. 6 p.m., we start seeing it kind of fade out there. And by, we're going to say 7 or 8 p.m., it's changed over to snow. And that snow will work its way east out of the state here. By the time we get toward midnight, just some scattered snow showers remain, and then lake effect snow ramps up short term for lake effect belts in the UP and perhaps some in western lower Michigan as well. Putting it all together for the model for the snowfall accumulation, we're going to go over the snow, sleet, and ice on the model, and then show you guys our forecast, which you guys should have seen yesterday. It hasn't changed this morning, but I will show you guys the model here. This is your snowfall forecast through the day. We're going to start seeing accumulations up in the UP roughly around the early afternoon time frame. This model right here is at 3 p.m. Let's go to 4, 5, 6, and right around that 7 o'clock time frame, we start seeing accumulations here in southeast Michigan as well, perhaps a good inch or so on the ground by the time we get towards sunset tonight. That will continue to fill its way in, and by the time the system departs, we are looking at a general 1 to 3 across southeast Michigan. Up further north, we're having a band that we see of a little bit higher accumulations from roughly the Manistee area all the way over toward the Omer areas, Tawas City area, a little bit higher accumulations up there. in the UP, 1 to 3 again, general accumulations up there. Further south could be a little bit higher, close to 4 or 5 inches. Not much has changed with that, but a general 1 to 3 plus area wide here for most of Michigan. And I'm sorry for you guys still in Southwest Michigan and Southern Michigan. You guys can get a mix, not much in the way of any snow again for our friends in South Michigan. So going into the sleet, maybe nope, freezing rain forecast here. This is your freezing rain accumulation here. Now recall about 1/4 inch of ice is what we call ice storm criteria. We're not going to come close to that today, but still have a few areas to become concerned about for slick travel, especially south of the 94 corridor here, which runs right about right here. Anywhere south of that could see a nice glaze of ice, which could make travel very slick this evening. 4, 5, 6 p.m. time frame especially is the time frame to keep an eye out. And then for sleet, here's your sleet accumulations here. It's going to show up as orange. We're going to see a nice coating of sleet again across and along the 94 corridor in South Michigan. So point is further north, snow solution, all snow. Further south, a mix of rain, or not rain, but freezing rain, and then sleet to start. It'll change over to snow later on in the evening. And then as for our forecast, we do have that posted. I'll go ahead and go over it very quickly with you guys. Again, this was posted last night. Nothing's changed with it. A general 1 to 3 there in aqua color for Southeast Michigan. It is uncertain, but right now confidence is increasing in snow accumulations there. So it should be just 1 to 3 generally speaking. Trace to an inch further to the west. That is because these two systems phase together too late. It misses the west part of Michigan. So not much happening over toward Grand Rapids, Holland, Kalamazoo, Niles area. But again, you still could get some slick freezing rain there and perhaps some sleet out of it as well. Further north, 3 to 7 inches across the north central part of lower Michigan, as well as very far southwest UP. Then around those 3 to 7 places, we're going to have a general 2 to 4, which still looks to be on track. Generally 1 to 6 inches really is the going forecast across much of the state. In terms of ice, we did keep it pretty conservative here. Trace to 0.05 of an inch, still looks to be on track. Although I'd say it's more so centered this morning around the 94 corridor. We did bring it up to 96 corridor just to keep it I guess conservative, just in case a little bit further north mixing comes in. But overall, it should be tied more so to the 94 corridor around the afternoon time frame. Then finally, we do have the timing map here that is all the way already underway here. This is your earliest precip arrival time. Now, again, it is snowing up there above our heads, but there is some dry air that it's working with that's not allowing the snow to reach the ground just yet. That will saturate the atmosphere later today, and it will start to snow here fairly soon for areas further north. With that being said, pop myself back in here, go to the comment section here. Yeah, it's going to be a gap there, unfortunately, and that's just because there's two pieces of energy that have to come together. And if we actually take it back to the regional look here and go, let's go back to the Ohio Valley look, and you'll see how it meets together after it crosses Michigan. We're just kind of like an unlucky pattern here. Go ahead and take this back in. So these two systems move together during the afternoon time frame here. Let's go back this up. There we go. There's your south. There's your north. Here's your south. There's your north. Now keep an eye over here toward Ontario, Pennsylvania area. They finally meet together after creating a gap in Michigan. There's your gap. Then finally, as it moves into Ontario, it becomes a little bit heavier snow there for our friends in Pennsylvania and New York. But unfortunately, it's a gap for Michigan. So yes, there's going to be a gap today somewhere around that Muskegon, Grand Rapids area. But again, you still would expect there to be some amount of freezing rain and some sleet there. Whether it's going to be impactful or not, it'd be pretty minor in nature is my guess. Good morning from Jackson County. What's up? Yes, 131 south of Kazoo is going to be mostly freezing rain and sleet. I don't expect too much in the way of any snow, maybe some snow showers mixing in later this evening, but I think it's going to be mostly a minor freezing rain and sleet event. This is not an ice storm by any means, but a glaze of ice can still be impactful to travel, and that's the main concern with the system is just travel impacts. By your map, I guess from where I live in Muskegon, I'll see a trace to 3 inches. So Muskegon, again, you're kind of in that dry slot in terms of how these systems kind of move together. Bringing up the snow map again, I'd put you more so in the trace to an inch Muskegon area, but you are close to that northern phase of energy there. But right now, I put you more so in the trace to an inch. Good morning from Clarkston. David says, "Of course, I just got the ice off my driveway in Adrian." Yep, that's how it's gone here, and it's how it will go for a while. We're gonna be hovering right around freezing for a while, so these icy events will melt and then happen again, melt, happen again. It's gonna be a vicious cycle here throughout February. And I knew someone's going to ask about the system on Wednesday and Thursday, so it's a good question. We already posted something about it this morning. I do have the map here pulled up. We are tracking a system for the midweek timeframe next week. Before I show you guys this, I will just say, how many times have we seen a system in the long term, 5-10 days away, and by the time it gets to that system arrival, it's basically nothing to worry about. It's happened way too many times here. But I will say the signal on the models is there for a potential wintry system midweek next week. The European model here, there's our first system coming together today, a break for tomorrow. And then as we move into the early part of next week, system passes off to our south. Could get some snow showers out of it. Not a big deal, though. And then finally, that system to talk about, or kind of monitoring at least, is there on the model. It moves up on Wednesday evening into Thursday, and it does impact Michigan with, again, a split zone of snow, ice, and rain here. So it could shift either way, north, south, east, west. We're going to track it. Keep an eye on it, but we're not getting excited here just yet, just because this winter we've been bamboozled many times with these systems working their way through, showing a good system 5 days away, and then by the time we get to that system day of, nothing to worry about. So we'll talk more about this on Monday if it still looks to be impactful for Michigan. What time will the snow start in Genesee County today? The snow for Genesee on the east side is going to be more so centered later this evening because we do have a lot of mixed precip to get through first. Go ahead and zoom back in here to Michigan. I'll walk you guys through it again. There we go. Back this up. So there we go. Here is noon today. We're seeing snow up there further north, further south, nothing going on. Mixed precip begins further south here for the Kalamazoo, Niles area. This is at 2 p.m. today. Here is 3 p.m. Here's 4 p.m. And notice how it's kind of over the mixed precip is overspread 94 corridor here. Further north here, perhaps Genesee County getting in some snow showers right around 4 o'clock this afternoon. But as this mixed precip changes to snow, that will happen right about here around 8 or 9 o'clock tonight, which then puts Genesee County in all snow. So I wouldn't expect all snow until later this evening. You may have some snow showers off and on throughout the afternoon. Could be a mix at times as well for you, but the heavier snow moves in later this evening. I used a Weather Channel app, and it says 3 to 5 inches Wednesday. So apps are just, don't use apps for long-term forecasting. That's all I'm going to say. They're great for temperatures. They can be great for precip timing sometimes, but they are terrible for winter and severe weather coverage. There was actually a picture I saw, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. The AccuWeather app is showing like 1.5 inches of ice accretion for the Wednesday system. If that actually happened, that would be a crippling ice storm. And it's just not going to happen. That would be like a historic ice storm. So you got to be careful what you look at with apps. So our forecast here for Detroit would be about a 1 to 3 inch of snow. But before that snow moves in, it could be a glaze of ice this afternoon and evening. So again, time frame for South Michigan will kind of go like this. Freezing rain to start with some sleet mixing in through the afternoon, right around noon to, we're going to say 5, 6 p.m. And then as we get toward that 7, 8, 9 p.m. time frame, that changes over to all snow, and we say bye to the mix. Further north in that 3 to 7 zone, you're going to see there is going to be all snow. There is no mixing expected in those darker blue zones further north. And here's our ice accretion forecast. Minor accretion of ice expected. Could be a glaze on the roadways there. So slick travel is the highest impact. Speaking of slick travel, I didn't go over this, but I do have these loaded in here for traffic forecast. Medium impacts across much of South Michigan. Further east toward Detroit area, we could see some higher impacts on our major highways like 94 or like M14, stuff like that. Areas like that, should I say. That could get some higher impacts with the glaze and snow combining there. Further north is where the highest impacts are expected just because the heavier snowfall rates are in these red zones up in northern lower, as well as the UP localized red there further south and west where higher accumulation of snow is expected. Apps are horrible with lake effect as well. That is absolutely true, David. In fact, I'm going to say this as well, a lot of meteorologists, humans, we can struggle with lake effect snow because it's very, very fluctuant or very, very deviant on very specific conditions. Like just a minor shift in wind direction can alter the course of a forecast significantly. So lake effect is very hard, whether you're using an app or you're looking at it with the models and putting human input into it. All right. Any other questions, guys? Let me know. Was hoping for some snowman making snow, but looks like a boring 1 inch or so. Well, all we can really hope for there, Anne, is for that midweek system next week to actually bring some good snow for us. Cross your fingers. It's not a guarantee, but if you want some good snow making snow or snowman making snow, that's really our next chance we see, uh, potentially. Thoughts on Ann Arbor, Ipsy for the snow? Looks like it's somewhat on the border. So going over the model here, I'll go ahead and put it over into the snow accumulation. Now, Ipsy, Ann Arbor here zooming way in. You're kind of on that edge there. I put you just to the south of the heaviest accumulation. I put 1 to 2 inches for you. Uh, so generally speaking, nothing too significant. If we happen to have a south shift, you may get into some heavier accumulations, but still 1 to 2 or 3 or 4 inches, not much difference there. So 1 to 3 would be a forecast for you. Tuscola County on edge. Tuscola County is not on the edge. It's firmly within a 1 to 3 zone. Good morning from Grand Haven. Thank you, Astra. Watch the all caps as well. We don't like to use caps in our chat. Just a general rule we have. How much for South Lyon and Brighton area? 1 to 3. Again, you're kind of close to that line of 1 inch or 3 inches. So 1 to 3 really is the general going rate across Southeast Michigan, as well as like the Lansing area, Jackson as well. So nothing significant, but will be enough to make travel slick out there. We've seen it so many times this year where even just 1 to 2 inches of snow can make travel very hazardous. I think a lot of people have a mentality that, hey, it's only an inch of snow. It's not that bad. But it doesn't matter if you're driving on an inch of snow or 6 inches of snow, it's slick regardless. And with today, especially further south toward 94, we have that potential glaze of ice and sleet mixing in there. It'll make travel quite slick this evening. So just be careful out there. Again, snow will begin this afternoon here. It's actually on radar. It is snowing up in northern lower. I talked about this at the start of the stream. If you guys are just joining us or joined late, we have snow on radar up here, but you guys are likely not seeing it reach the ground. That's because we have a pocket of dry air above our heads. So while the radar's picking snow up here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 feet above our heads, we get to that layer of air that's a couple hundred feet above our heads. It's actually very dry still, so that's got to saturate before the snow can reach the ground. So you may see snow on radar, but it's not actually reaching the ground just yet. But this will begin to reach the ground later this afternoon. St. Joe County, no snow, just freezing rain. So for St. Joe County, I would say that is a good bet. Now, when I say freezing rain, it's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be mostly a light mix of sleet, freezing rain, maybe some snow showers to top it all off. I do think you're a little bit too far west to get excited for any snow accumulation, though. Probably just a dusting at most. With it being chilly in the middle of February, maybe timing will be good for a mild start to March. That'd be nice. David, that is what I'm kind of looking at more so on a personal level. We're starting to kind of get an idea or a general consensus on what severe season 2025 could look like. And we always start kind of keep an eye on the trends right around the February timeframe. That's because we get to that February timeframe, we can start seeing what March looks like. And then April and stuff like that. And that's our spring season for severe weather. So the polar vortex is going to split. That's going to bring us some colder air to end the month here. Once that polar vortex splits, I don't see much in the way of any cold Arctic air beyond that, which could signal the polar jet getting pulled further north and allows more warmer air to penetrate further north as well. So perhaps March could be a little bit warmer than average. We'll see. Just a guess. Thank you, Mike, for that super chat. Appreciate your support of the channel. When can we expect the heaviest snow in Prescott near West Branch? So Shelly, we're going to say right around the mid to late afternoon time frame into the early evening. We're going to say 8 p.m. for you. That'd be the heaviest of your snow there. But snow will continue later on as well. This model here, go ahead and walk you guys through it once again here. Let's go ahead and do hour by hour. Let's do one at a time. So this is 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon, 1 p.m. Go ahead and take a full here for you guys. This is 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9, 10, 11. There's midnight tonight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then 4 a.m. That is your hour by hour there. So for West Branch area, I'd say your heaviest snow 3, which would be right about here, to about the 8 time frame, which is right about here. Will anything happen in Cass County? A mix of sleet and freezing rain to start today afternoon. So that's all I really expect there further south and west. Maybe some snow to top it off later this evening. It won't amount to much, though. Bay City, Saginaw area. Again, 1 to 3 inches as your general accumulation up there. You could see isolated higher. I got a map here. Where did it go? There it is. You're very close up there in Bay City, that 1 to 3, 2 to 4 line. So I go either way. Wouldn't be shocked to see, a 4-inch report up there, but generally speaking, 1 to 3 should be the expectation close to the Tri-Cities. Trace amounts for Muskegon. Yay. Yep. That is Muskegon's getting sandwiched between these two systems, and it's going to miss quite a bit of the precip here, unfortunately. Accumulation predictions for Grand Rapids. So again, the map here, feel free to take a look at it here. Grand Rapids is traced to an inch. I'll leave it up here for a few minutes. You guys want to take a peek at your locations, correlate it to the amounts. We might go live later today as well. We have a couple chasers who plan to be out and about this evening, so perhaps a live stream to follow later. Is Mount Pleasant, Isabella 2 to 4 or 1 to 3? So you're basically right on the line. 1 to 3 south, 2 to 4 north. All right, I'll go ahead and do it. Go over everything once more for you guys. So if you guys still have questions about timing and impacts and stuff like that, let's go ahead and walk through it one more time. You can also restart the video as well. I go over everything the first 5 or 10 minutes of the video. Let's go ahead and back this up to the regional look and go over everything one more time, and we'll pop out of here. So starting with our system, we have 2 areas of, we'll say, energy. We have a north energy piece and we have a south energy piece. They have to come together somewhere in Michigan here, and where they do come together matters, because keep an eye on this. Notice here there's a gigantic gap in the Grand Rapids, Lansing area to begin the afternoon. As this continues into the afternoon, that gap begins to fill in, especially for East Michigan, but it does leave a nice opening here for Muskegon and Grand Rapids areas, or generally speaking, those areas. But then it fills in here for the east side, and that becomes a wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain, especially further south. Further north, all snow is the forecast. So how that looks here on the hour by hour, I'll go ahead and zoom in here to Michigan, and we'll go over it again here. Take a full screen for you guys. There we go. So backing this up to current time, which is 11:30, which is right about here. We're going to see snow begin up in the northern part of Michigan as early as now. It's just got to penetrate the dry air. And it'll get to start. Yeah, wow. There's a lot of dry air up there, so it's got to penetrate and saturate the atmosphere before the snow begins. It should start here momentarily in the next couple hours. This is 1 p.m. on the model. Here is 2 p.m. Notice your mix of freezing rain begins further south, close to Kalamazoo. Snow continues further north. Here is 3 p.m. Here's 4 p.m. That mix continues to push east across 94 corridor. Up further north continues to be all snow. There is 5 p.m. tonight. There is 6 p.m. And notice here by about 7 or 8 p.m., that mix begins to move out, and we're left with snow in the central and southeast part of the state. So south of 94 or along 94, a mix to start, change over to snow later on this evening. North of those locations, though, all snow is expected beginning around, we're going to say now, through the late evening time frame. This is 11 p.m. This is midnight tonight. And after midnight, we really start seeing it kind of tone down here. Lake effect snow continues, though, for localized areas in west or northern Michigan. As far as all of the accumulation goes, here's your snowfall map for the model through the afternoon into the evening. A general 1 to 3 with isolated higher amounts possible, especially further north here across like Gaylord areas, Manistee areas, Traverse City, up here toward the southern part of the UP as well. Could get some higher accumulations. But further south here toward Detroit area, for example, 1 to 3 is a general going rate up in Tri-Cities as well. Perhaps as far south as Lansing, 1 to 3 inches of snow is your going forecast. Now, further south, though, we talked about that freezing rain and sleet. Along the 94 corridor will be the, not going to say the heaviest, it's not really heavy at all, but the glaze of ice, we're going to call it, is going to be stuck south of 94 here through the afternoon. And then as we get into the evening, it'll change over to a sleet mix, which is right here in orange. This is your sleet. Close to 94, point southward, and then finally changing over to the all snow solution by later this evening. So that is your forecast for the system today. Most of the impacts will be stuck to travel. We're not expecting outages, wind, nothing like that. Our forecast here has not really changed at all. 3 to 7 inches further north, and then 1 to 3 further south. Overall, nothing has really changed since yesterday's forecast. And then for ice, no big deal with ice, but I say no big deal, no power impacts, no tree impacts, but it could still cause a glaze on some roads and sidewalks. So do keep in mind going out places tonight that you could see some slick travel, especially along 94, perhaps sneaking just north of that corridor. All right. With that being said, I'm going to pop out of here. I'm going to check the comments one more time here. I did miss Sarah with a super chat. Thank you, Sarah, for your support of the channel here. Freezing rain, sleet, Ann Arbor. Yes, Matt, but do expect a change over to snow later this evening around 7 p.m. or so. So with that being said, I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsors today, and I'm going to pop out of here. And again, we'll be live perhaps later today for some coverage, or perhaps some chasers out there who are covering the snow and freezing rain impacts. Shout out to a couple sponsors. We have StormGuard Roofing and Construction based out of Macomb, Oakland counties, as well as Detroit metro areas. Roofing construction needs, give them a call, 248-985-3239. We got Pro Powder out of the South Haven area. Powder coating needs, 269-637-8722. We also have Lifestyle Exteriors, 989-854-3055. They're based out of the Lansing and Traverse City areas, doing exterior work on your homes. We also have Katz Roofing and Siding based out of Powderville, 517-485-9886. Roofing, siding, window, gutter needs. Sponsors here help keep operations rolling. We have a lot of back-end costs, so to speak. So having sponsors help us out with the cost really helps us in return give to you guys. So if you guys need some work, done your homes or powder coating needs, give them a call. With that being said, I am going to pop out of here. Perhaps see you guys later this afternoon or evening for some live coverage of what to expect today and this evening here in Michigan. You guys stay safe. I'll catch you guys later.